Our recording. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, we're happy to have all of you together with us tonight, of course. And before we start, Peggy will read the Piscataway acknowledgement.
We are gathered on the unceded land of the Piscataway peoples. I ask that you join me in acknowledging the Piscataway community, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. We acknowledge that this country was founded upon exclusions and erasures of many indigenous peoples, including those on whose land St. Vincent de Paul is located. This acknowledges and demonstrates a commitment to beginning the process of working to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism.
Thank you. We're also really happy to have our pastor join us briefly tonight. So let's begin with a prayer. Would you please, Father Evan?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. It's really nice to be here with you all tonight.
We're so happy to have you.
Just want to read a real short prayer. I actually read it this morning, but it's for today's feast day of Saint Teresa of Avila. So let's begin. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. All things are passing away, yet God never changes. Patience obtains all things. Whoever has God lacks nothing, for God alone suffices. Lord God, as we gather tonight as people committed to justice and mercy, let us always follow you to face unafraid the challenges in our world, our nation, our city, and always trusting that you are our companion and our guide. We make these prayers through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Father.
You're welcome.
Last month, we discussed blatant racism that we are observing, such as wiping out history at the Smithsonian Institution buildings, banning books, and especially the executive order against diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI. We had drafted letters that we could send thanking companies who kept their DEI initiatives and asking companies who didn't to please reconsider. By mentioning support or withholding support for their companies in the letters, we hope to make an impact. We truly thank you if you've sent your letters, and we will discuss how you did and any responses you received a little later in the meeting. But first, we will discuss the current immigration crisis. And so for that, we're going to turn to Peggy because she's had an experience that she wants to share as part of her report. Peggy.
Thanks, Skip. So the USCCB president, Archbishop Timothy Broglio, said about immigrants, "Count on the commitment of all of us to stand with you in this challenging hour." Pope Leo XIII made clear his stance on the plight of immigrants this month. Be a missionary. Welcome migrants. On October 5th, during a Jubilee Mass with tens of thousands of migrants and missionaries, he said, "Missionary work is no longer in distant lands or geographic. Because of poverty and suffering, people have come here. The tragedy of their flight from violence, the suffering which accompanies it, the fear of not succeeding, the perilous risk of traveling along the coastline, their cry of sorrow and desperation, all bear witness to that. Those boats which hope to catch sight of a safe port, and those eyes filled with anguish and hope, seeking to reach the shore, cannot and must not find the coldness of indifference or the stigma of discrimination." So he gets
Just a few days earlier, speaking to reporters, Pope Leo XIV appeared to criticize Catholic supporters of U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration raids. Quote, "Someone who says that I am against abortion, but I am in agreement with the inhuman treatment of immigrants who are in the United States. I don't know if that's pro-life, Pope Leo said. Leading the recitation of the Angelus after Mass, Pope Leo said that, quote, no one should be forced to flee, nor exploited or mistreated because of their situation as foreigners or people in need. Human dignity must always come first. Being missionaries at home, he said, means not hiding in the comforts of one's own life and turning a blind eye to, quote, those who arrive from lands that are distant and violent, but rather opening our arms and hearts to them, welcoming them as brothers and sisters, and being for them a presence of consolation and hope. However, he said, Catholics cannot leave the work to others. Quote, this precious service involves each one of us within the limits of our own means. He included as means prayer, donations, and personnel.
So many of you may have seen in the e-news or on the back of the church, the table in the back of church, the sheet that we had on opportunities, immigrants to help the immigrants. So I sent out that, and I'm going to make more copies because apparently they're all gone. And hopefully that means people are taking it and taking some action. But one of the items on there was that the American Bar Association has an online training for observing courts for non-citizens facing deportation. So non-citizens have no guarantee to a free attorney, so most of them represent themselves. Court is under the Department of Justice. So think about what that means.
Yes.
Judges are DOJ employees, so they could get pressure from the administration. And already President Trump has fired 50 of these judges across the country. And the EBA said that some government attorneys are dismissing cases without hearing them, and ICE then puts them in detention for expedited removal. So that means they have no protections of the immigration court for due process. So in an April 25th memo, the president said that judges could deny claims for asylum and dismiss them even before they could get an attorney, and they may not even speak English. So immigration application for asylum costs $100, and then it's another $100 per year, where it used to be free, but it's no longer free. So some of them can't get the money. And right now, the options for a bond to get out of detention are practically nil, the ABA said. There were 57,000 in ICE detention in July. 71% of those had no criminal convictions. There's horrible overcrowding. There is fear in the communities. If they follow the law and appear for hearings, they could get detained. So they don't all pursue their rights. I'm sure you all have heard on the news, kids aren't going to school. They're just afraid. They're afraid to leave their homes. And if they don't show, they're ordered to be removed to their previous country. There are also many scams out there with people claiming to be attorneys. So the ABA has this training, and it trains volunteers to go into court to observe the immigration hearings and to track data. They said they don't have enough people to do this, so they're training people. It's a few hours training online, and then you can go into court, and then you give the feedback from what you've seen. So they said they can also report on what's working, if there are any successful arguments at hearings, and they can help correct wrongs that are happening. So I did go through the training so that I could see what was happening in the Maryland immigration courts. So I just wanted to tell you about one day in the courts, the experience that I had, and it'll give you a flavor, hopefully, of what's happening. So I spent the morning, well, it says that you need a half an hour to make sure you go through security and everything. But with the government shutdown, it didn't take me half an hour. So it also said online that the Baltimore Immigration Court started at 8:30, and so to get there at 8 to try to get in. So I actually walked into a courtroom at 8:05, but there was already a case in progress. So I don't know. That judge must start early. There were two respondents, both sitting up at the front table. There was not another soul other than the judge and the clerk. I think she had a clerk in there. And there was somebody on video with no picture, but just voice, which I assume was the interpreter, since somebody was interpreting, because neither one of them could speak English. So they took the one person first and went through, and there are lots of things that you fill out on your sheets about, did they give the advisals? What time did it start? Attorneys' names, did you get the government's attorney? Never once did I see a government attorney, although I did hear them. I heard a voice on there. Excuse me one second. And I see you have a question. Do you want me to finish my report on this first, or did you
Yeah,
need
go
it?
ahead and finish. I was just going to tell you, I went.
Okay. Anyway, neither one had representation. So one of the questions that they ask is, would you like more time to get a representative? And I will tell you, in the 13 cases that I listened to, every single one of them said yes. And so that they were given more time. This judge gave them, pardon me?
That's Denny and
Oh, Rita.
Rita.
Okay. This judge gave them until, she gave them a couple of months. Actually, she gave them till March 11th, 26, to be continued. And the one guy, the one respondent, moved them back into the courtroom, and then they went through the same thing with the woman. I suspect that they were brother and sister, but I don't really know that because I missed the very beginning when they gave their names. So then she dismissed me. She asked me who I was, and I told her I was a court observer, and she asked me if I was with any group, and I said no. And so she dismissed me because the next case was a sensitive case, and the ABA had told us that they might ask you to leave if it is a sensitive case that you can't hear. So then I went to another courtroom. So I got into that courtroom about 8:30, and there were two families, one with an infant and one with a 6-year-old child, and another couple and a couple of single people. And what I want to tell you is that we sat in that courtroom for 2.5 hours before the judge came on the video at one point and said he was sorry he was held up and that he would be there soon. 2.5 hours, and nobody said one word. I have to tell you that the fear was palpable. I mean, I just sat there. I kept thinking about how in the world would you feel if you're waiting for a judge to come in and decide things. I mean, it was horrendous. The 6-year-old made one comment, and that was all I heard the entire 2.5 hours. So then the judge came in. He came in by video. So there were about 10 cases in a row that they were either Creole speaking or Spanish speaking. And every single one of them, they did provide an interpreter who was on the video or on the phone. I couldn't really tell. And they did interpret. The respondents seemed to be understanding what the interpreters were saying, because every once in a while the judge would say, does anything need to be repeated? And they did not. So, but it was horrible. I mean, and then he asked several of them if they feared that they would be tortured if they went back. There was one gentleman there. He was there with his wife. They had recently gotten married, and apparently he had gone back to the country, and he was a citizen here, and he was detained in that country for a year. And so he's trying to tell the judge that she can't go back because this is what happened to me. And the judge said, you'll have to wait for your hearing. So this was just a master court hearing where they were asked if they had an attorney. And when they didn't, then they were given time. Now, this judge gave one of them only a week to get somebody because that person had not appeared. He was on the phone. So he said, you have a week to get in here. The guy lived in Salisbury. He said he didn't have a car. And the judge said, this is the most important meeting you have to take. You get public transportation or you get somebody to bring you. I'll give you a week. So that poor guy, I don't know what he was going to do. And then another person, his case must have been a little different, and I'll do better the next time, but it was a little confusing for me because I couldn't tell exactly what type of cases they were. But one guy, the next appointment that he had is in 2028. So he has to have his witnesses, he has to get everything together by 2028. So I can't imagine, I mean, their lives, they're either delayed for months or years that they don't even know what's happening to them. So it was extremely, extremely difficult. And like I said, none of them even spoke English. I can't even fathom what they were going through. And you want to share your experience?
I just want to say, and this was Maryland, which is a much more sympathetic state than some, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah,
Sorry, Ann.
that's interesting because I actually had quite a different experience than you did. I went yesterday, and originally I was planning on being there for the 8:30 courts, but there wasn't anybody having any sessions. And so I walked into one court with the clerk, and she invited me to come back at 1 o'clock. So it was the judge that actually invited me back. She said, I'll be starting at 1. So I went back, and there was an attorney, a DHS attorney present. So there was a live judge, there was a live attorney. There were interpreters by video. And she made sure that every single one had, an interpreter, translator available. There were a total of about, I was losing track of time of numbers because there were family groups and there were individuals. But she was extremely accommodating and respectful. This was Judge Zakia
Sorry.
Mahasa.
Okay.
And so for every single one, she gave them a deferred time because they have to come in, their first thing that they're asked is if, did you get your notice to appear? And that's what they have to actually show up. And so some of them weren't clear if they had received it, which was a little, unsure for me because how did they know to come for that particular kind if they didn't have the NTA? But at any rate, she was very lenient with them, and she gave them dates into January and March to come back. There were a couple that needed to file for asylum, and she gave them, a year and a half to do that. So overall, everybody that showed up, she was very accommodating. I thought she, bent over backwards to listen to them and to try to figure out, the best possible solution. It was impossible to know, if there were really any ICE agents in the building because they weren't showing themselves very well. And the way the court rooms are set up, there are these little isolated spaces. And so all the public areas are, removed. And if I'm sitting in the court, I'm not going to know what's happening once these people walk out of the room. But at any rate, I learned a lot. And, going through the forms and trying to record it, I'm realizing that, I missed a bit of the interaction, so I'll be able to do better next time. But I found it, very enlightening. My daughter called me right before I went in. She said, I want you to see how many of these do you think that they're, drug cartel. They're all drug cartel. I was like, okay, right. Okay, Elena. So, you know, I can assure her that, none of these families were part of the drug cartel, but that's what she's hearing, She's
Of
in
course.
Michigan, and that's what she's hearing on social media. And that's the impression out there is that, all these people who are, being, asked to come in are, drug dealers. But at the same time, the hearings that we were allowed to be in were for the undetained. I accidentally walked into a detained hearing, and that was the one I was asked to leave. I couldn't stay for that one.
Right.
But that, again, that was a family. It was a mother, daughter, mother, child, or mother, father, and two daughters were coming from having been detained. And I don't know
Right.
what their outcome was.
Mhm.
But
Right. Well, and I don't want to give the impression that the judges were not respectful, because both judges, they were respectful. The second guy, because he was so far behind, he was just like trying to whip through cases.
Mm.
But I guess I was trying to think of my perspective from the immigrant's point of view. The respondent was the fear. I mean, like I said, have you ever been in a room with that many people where nobody says a word for 2.5 hours?
that would have been bizarre.
It was so difficult. And then the last two cases that he heard were no-shows. And to hear him say that he gave an order for removal back to Honduras and a
Mm.
removal back to Guatemala. I mean, it was awful. So
Well, again, there were several no-shows at the end of ours too. But I mean, what are they supposed to do? If they don't appear, they can't make a case for themselves. And so, I mean, that's the process that they're in. They
I
get an
know.
NTA, and if they don't show up, then they're immediately, and then that's when they run into problems.
But they're hearing stories that when they show up, ICE can get them
Right.
at those, and which is probably happening in a lot of states.
The other thing that happened in almost every one of the cases were to request asylum, they submit an I-589 form. And apparently almost every single form that they mentioned in the cases that I was listening to, they were not complete.
Right.
So every time they said, you need to get this complete. One guy, because he'd been in the country for so long, he wasn't given as much time. So I mean, they did take that into consideration and gave them time to get a completed one in and to get an attorney. It just felt pretty hopeless if you're there without money. And anyway, that was my perspective.
I think the biggest need that right now is for them to have adequate representation.
Oh, absolutely.
There aren't enough lawyers who are willing to come in and sit with these people and do this.
Right.
Half of the people that I saw didn't have representation.
None of them had representation, the 13 cases that I listened to. So they were all given time to give it, but except one person might have on the phone. I couldn't really tell that. Jerry, did you want to weigh in here?
Well, I have a question. Yeah. So this is on the ABA website. Is it a specific link that we look for, or?
Yes, I sent it to you in one of my attachments, but I can send it again if you would
I
like it.
appreciate it. I'm always losing your emails because people keep responding to the entire group. And then if it's not your name, I don't know who it is. And then it accidentally I get like 30, 40 emails a day. So it's scary, isn't it? God bless you girls for going there. I swear, because immigration, first of all, immigration law is so complicated.
Yeah.
So complicated. And immigration cases are scary. And I have been in that immigration court before. My mentor did a lot of immigration law. And, I went in and did a few things like asking for a continuance and stuff like that for him. But it was packed when I went. It was just to get in the door was packed when I went. A few times I did. But if you send me the link, so you can just take this fill out this questionnaire, and it's like a course that you're taking.
Don't fill out anything. It's about 3 hours long. There's videos that they show you. There's bullets, etc. So you take the training, and then they'll give you a certificate, and then you can go to observe. And they tell you, be respectful. If they ask you to leave, leave. Don't you can't take any sides. You're totally an observer. So they'll give you all the direction that you need. But it moves
Great. Okay, thanks.
you would do better than I did, I'm sure, because you would know more of the language, but it moves very quickly. And
Yeah.
some of the terminology I wasn't as familiar with at the start of the day. And then you do have to complete when you're there, you can fill out, it's 4 pages that you fill out on one case. And then when you get home, you have to input them all online. And you get a response right away on that. So, and they also did ask about if the judges talked about self-deporting, and the one judge I had did tell them that if you self-deport or voluntary departure, he explained that you wouldn't have an order for removal, which then may make it easier to apply again. So there was no pressure for self-deportation, but he did explain that and gave the positives of if you did that. So I never saw a government attorney, but I'm pretty sure there was one online the entire time because one of the guys, the husband of one of them, was trying to explain something, and the attorney said that he could fill out an I-130, and then he could testify at the final hearing for his wife, which was the one scheduled in March of 2028. So anyway, so yeah, they gave plenty of time to do that for this particular one that I guess maybe was further along than the others. That's what I wasn't really clear on. I thought they were all master court hearings, but that one was obviously further along than the rest of them. So I wasn't clear on that. Anne?
One other thing that was very interesting, the DHS attorney who was present in the courtroom, eventually he started asking the judge, I would like to know who these people are that are sitting here watching us and who these observers are. And he kept pressuring the judge, to ask her to identify it. And she kept saying, no, this is open to the public. This is, they're quite, welcome to, I mean, she didn't say welcome, but she said, this is a public hearing and they can be here and there's no need for that. But he was just, he was just being a little twit. He just did not want us there. He kept saying, oh, they could be reporters. We might, there might be some danger for the asylum seekers. I mean, he was just a nut.
Yeah. Well, I will say that both judges asked me who I was, not my name, but they asked me who I was, and they both asked me if I was representing a group. And I said, no, I'm just an individual observing. And I said I was trained by ABA, but that was all. And
You just look lawyerly, that's all.
I know that there were no ICE agents in the courtroom because I was the only person in the courtroom left both times when all the cases were dismissed, and in the one case when it started. So I know there were no ICE agents. And then when I was in the lobby, this is in the federal building, it also was during the shutdown. So there was not much traffic, but I did ask the security guard there, I said, are there any ICE agents down here? And he said, no. He said, they're on the 6th floor and immigration court is on the 4th floor. So I'm pretty sure there were no ICE agents around, but it's pretty creepy because your visitor's pass has a big ICE on it.
Yeah, I grabbed one that just said visitor.
Yeah, well, they handed me mine. So again,
well, I got past them because they were too busy chatting. So I just pulled one out of the other
bin. All right. So anyway, I know that was a lot. So take a moment, think about our neighbors. Any comments or discussion points that you would like to mention or questions that you have?
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. My stomach's in knots just thinking about what would tomorrow be. I mean, if you're deported, I can't even imagine. I mean, some people have been here for a decade. I mean, if someone said to me, all right, you got to pack up and move now, I don't know. That's what I find so horrific about it all. And I do maintain too, Maryland is a safer state and probably Baltimore, a bit safer city. I mean, I was watching, I don't know if anybody saw the panel, Georgetown University Catholic Social Thought and Public Life panel, and they had two bishops on and two nuns and an immigration lawyer, and probably half of them at least were in border towns, or well, LA. A couple of them were in LA, and like the bishop from LA was talking about how that the city is full of immigrants. I mean, it's probably more immigrants than people that have been there long, 50 years or their heritage is there. But, and they were saying that 30% of them, they're not going to their jobs. The kids aren't going to school. They're not even, some of them, they're trying to help in their parishes and deliver food and things, but they were talking about how it's so traumatizing. It's really, in a way, like hurricane victims, that you've lost your livelihood. You've lost your homes in some cases. Now, some of them haven't lost that, but they're fearing that. And the children are so traumatized by it all. And those kinds of things, they don't just change because even the situation, let's say it improves, those things hold with these kids for, who knows how long. So anyway, I just find the whole uncertainty and fear just overwhelmingly sad.
I think many of you know that my daughter-in-law, Jill, is taking her law degree in immigration law. And she's really, really passionate about this. But several times in the past year and a half, one of her professors at the School of Law, University of Maryland, has taken students in his class to Mexico to actually work and help immigrants in Mexico. And she really went through kind of like a fear crisis a couple months ago because her professor was being investigated now by DOJ and ICE. And they wanted to know who were the students who went with him, their names and all of that. And she just felt like, at any time, Justin and I may just have to pack up and go to Costa Rica quickly. So she's calming down a little, but on that end, when it's that close and it's in your family, you feel it. And Peggy and I have a mutual friend who has been here for decades, I'm sure. Can't say any names, of course, I won't do that here. But I don't know what his status is, but I do know that he's scared to work now. He was just offered the opportunity to buy the home that he was renting. But how's he going to be able to pay for it if he's too scared to go to work?
Mm.
And he has two beautiful little daughters. I don't know if they're going to school.
Mm.
I had a question about self-deportation. When a person even considers it, say if a person considers self-deportation, do they have to register with the authorities, or do they just leave, or what's the process? Because I was wondering, how would they know if they self-deport themselves if they didn't register? And as the judge said, there are certain advantages to it. They would have a chance to apply it legally to be to get into this country. Does anybody know?
Jerry, would you know that question? I don't know that answer to that. Do you, Jerry?
I don't know that answer either. I can find out and get back to everybody at some time.
It's a great question, Dennis.
It is a
Yeah.
great question. It's a really good question.
If you let me know, Jerry, I'll send it out to everyone. If you can email me the answer to that, that would be great.
I was
And
by
that
the
still,
is
way-
how does the government know that you've self-deported.
Right, yeah. Yeah, how do they know?
If somebody
I would
wants to, what
still
do they
be
do?
so concerned that how would I get back in because the
Yeah, sure.
border's not open anyway.
Right,
So
right.
Well, of
that's just a
course, yeah.
giant negative that
Mhm,
to
mhm.
me.
Well, and the reason that most of these people, you know, it's been legal to apply for asylum
I
because
know.
you're afraid you'll be tortured, you're afraid they're gang,
Absolutely.
you're afraid. So it's been legal. So they're being, if they self-deport, they have to self-deport. Well, I guess they wouldn't have to. That's another question. Do they have to self-deport to the country from which they came?
Mhm.
I
No,
guess
I
you could
don't
leave and
think.
go anywhere. I guess you could just fly off and go
Yeah.
somewhere, but
Yeah.
geez,
They take you.
Mhm.
yeah.
Did
There
you
were
hear
supposed
about
to
the
be
lady?
flyers. There were supposed to be flyers posted in the courtroom on how to
Really?
do that. But a lot of the folders were empty. They didn't have, the pertinent information that they claimed that they were going to have there. There's also a place on the form that said, voluntary departure, if that was checked off or not. And then there was a place intends to file or filed. So I think there's some mechanism for them to officially do that so that the government knows that that's what their intention is.
Okay.
There is a document on the wall, and we were asked how many languages it was in, and so I said 5, but and then another one said 3, but I didn't read it to see what it said, but one of them was on self-deportation. So I guess next time I go, Dennis, too, I'll try to read that.
Okay,
See what
okay.
it says. But
And
Also,
I'll see what my immigration friends say. Yeah.
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 So this
Yeah.
was posted all
I
over
was
the
gonna
wall.
say also, this month is part of this month is Hispanic Heritage Month.
Mhm.
And the reason I know this is because uh, volunteering at City Springs Elementary,
Yeah.
they say it's from September the 15th to October the 15th. So
Yes.
today is the last day. And there are Hispanic students at City Springs. And, sometimes they come, they they introduce themselves uh, at the morning meeting uh, before classes start.
Mm.
They have this giant screen where they have a video of the principal and other students in the building. Some are Hispanic, and they get to talk about their country, and a lot of the kids are really proud of their country and where they came from, so. Uh, So I just thought I'd just bring that up.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Mm.
Dennis.
Mm.
Jerry Filkowski.
You're muted,
You're
Jerry.
muted, Jerry.
This might be a good time to share with you Ellie Hidalgo's story and their visit to the Pope on this. She started her story today from Discerning Deacons by saying that her father immigrated here from Cuba during the Cuban crisis in 1960. And she said at Thanksgiving, right after they emigrated, neighbors came to their door in Miami and handed them a turkey with all these condiments and stuff, and they didn't know what that was. And their neighbor explained to them their Thanksgiving tradition in our country. And Ellie said her father, who has since passed on, was just never forgot that incredible heartfelt welcome that they got from their first Manuel Hidalgo's first Thanksgiving in the United States in Miami. And she said, and so she said that she's had a lot of sadness and weariness as a Cuban American because she wants to be a pilgrim of hope. And so many of her neighbors and friends and family members have suddenly been detained and been deported without due process, compassion, or mercy. And so many hundreds of thousands are also fearing this. And she said, so it was a lot of sadness and weariness. And she decided to enlist to become one of the Pilgrims of Hope that were going to make a pilgrimage to Rome for the Jubilee of Migrants. So she did join these pilgrims from Chicago, Los Angeles, Boston, Lexington, and other cities as part of a nearly 100-person delegation sponsored by the National Catholic Church of Hispanic Ministry and the Institute for Life under the leadership of President Elizabeth Floman. And so she said she wants us to know that how she got her faith renewed. She said, to their great joy, Pope Leo XIV received our delegation in a private audience on October 7th, affirming the significance of courageous pastoral ministry in the U.S. He said, you have in your hands a very great task, which is to accompany the people who truly and profoundly need a sign that God never abandons anyone, not the smallest, not the poorest, not the foreigner, not anyone. And she said Pope Leo spoke to them completely in Spanish. And then he proceeded to greet each pilgrim personally, and many gave him letters from migrants in their communities who are facing unprecedented levels of fear. She said her gift to Pope Leo was the image which Angelo Derrier, a discerning deacon, made of him the week of the election, and her artwork lifted up Pope Leo's description of the peace of the risen Christ on St. Peter's Square. And then she also gave the Holy Father a letter of an introduction about the work of discerning deacons and the organizational commitment to being messengers of hope and heralds of good news. So then she said, throughout this week, they were accompanied by U.S. bishops who celebrated Mass with us. Bishop Mark Seitz of El Paso, Bishop Abilio Menevar of Washington, and Bishop Bruce Lewandowski of Providence. And Bishop Seitz recalled the days as a parish priest in Dallas ministering to immigrant families from Honduras. He said, once you meet and know people, the theme of migration is seen differently, said Bishop Seitz. Only love can expel fear. And then the executive director of the Hope Border Institute recalled Pope Francis's teaching. So then they said, as discerning deacons, they know what it is for communities to organize hope. So there's 3 concrete ways we can stand in solidarity with our immigrant brothers and sisters. Number 1, in memory of Francis Xavier Cabrini, patron saint of immigrants, the U.S. bishops are inviting the faithful to take the Cabrini Pledge to encourage civic dialogue and to pray for migrants and refugees. And there's a place that you can take the pledge by clicking here. I'm going to send this to Peggy and Skip and Jody, and then they can send it to everybody. Secondly, consider hosting a local screening of the film Cabrini, which is something we could actually do. As one way to get conversations going on about what brave, faithful discipleship can look like in the face of many forms of resistance and oppression. And they give you a resource page for that. And then organize or participate in a faithful public witness on Wednesday, October 22nd, and Thursday, November 13th. Catholics across the U.S. are invited to join in a national day of public action for immigrant brothers, sisters, and then she gives the resources. So that's 3 specific things.
That's great.
So if I send it to our chairpersons can send that to everybody, I think. And I'm just listening. I mean, Anne has a Latino daughter. I have all 3 of my grandchildren, their paternal grandfather was from Bolivia. And all 3 of my grandchildren and my daughter-in-law, my beautiful daughter-in-law, were born here. But out of my 3 grandchildren, my middle granddaughter is very Latina looking, Helen. And you would see her on the street and you would think she might be from Spain or Mexico, but she very much has some of the look of the indigenous Bolivians. And I'm telling my granddaughter not to leave the house without copies of her passport and not to leave the house without copies of her driver's license. And she's a licensed architect in this city of Philadelphia, but I'm terrified about my granddaughter who was born and raised in this country, as was her mother, but she she's very, international looking.
Mm.
And so what have we come to? And I had quietly asked Anne if she worries sometimes about her daughter for the same reason. And this is my granddaughter, but I think none of us can be blasé about this. And I just thought maybe watching this story about Mother Caprini would be good for all of us too.
It's an awesome movie. It's
A great
wonderful.
idea.
If you haven't seen it, it's terrific.
Thank you so much, Jerry.
Well, that
Yeah, that's great.
Deacon said Pat would have given it to you much more succinct. I just didn't know she wasn't going to be here, or I would have been better prepared. But
No, that was great.
No, thank you. Thank you, Jerry.
And I mean, there are a lot of things we can do with that. Besides the 1022 and the 1113, we had that those immigration opportunities that I sent out, or that was also in the back of church. Jules gave me those. She's our
Yeah.
authority on
Yes.
immigration, and she said when she mentioned the one about meeting on Mondays and then going to the federal building to stand witness kind of for the immigrants, she said it's just uplifting for them to see that,
Mhm.
So anyway, some of the things are easy. The cards for Sacred Heart. Sue Woodman did say she'd be happy to deliver those if we gather, stuff for Sacred Heart. So I'm going to ask Father he had to leave. He put something, he had told me that he couldn't stay the whole time. So I'm going to ask him if he would announce that those immigration things are in the back of church again. I might wait till next weekend because we have that recycling event at the back of church this weekend. So I don't want people to confuse recycling with immigrants. Anyway, it's overwhelmingly depressing, as Jody mentioned. So we truly need to pray and work to change things. And one of the things we can also do is when we have relatives, as most of us do, who believe what they hear on the news about all these criminals, is to share the experiences that we've had or that you've talked to us about, and that there are these were not criminals in court. These were families. These were single. These were somebody who just got married to a citizen. These were people who have been here for 10, 20 years. One person was here for 20 years. So we can share that, and maybe bring the humanity, because that's what did you say? He said only love can expel fear. So if we show that this is who we need to be loving community, and these people are not villains. And
And the administration is dehumanizing immigrants. It's major. That's their major role right now, it seems like, or one of their major roles. And that's what we have to counter.
This is the American story that we've all known. I mean, these people come, many of them have brought children who are DACAs. They weren't born here, so they don't have citizenship, but they've spent their whole lives here. And where do you deport them to? A place they have no memory of, don't speak the language. Some of them have completed college and are well on their way to being able to be truly contributing citizens in key professions. This is just asinine.
And they have contributed. They have paid taxes. They have doing everything they're supposed to do.
And they're the backbone of many, many of our, agriculture, construction, healthcare. Oh my gosh, I did communion to a nursing home. I think there's one white person working there out of everybody else who's Hispanic or Latino or, it's amazing.
Right. And I think it's also important to note that, yes, immigrants make all these amazing contributions, but even if they didn't, they'd still be human and worthy of dignity. It's even if somebody is not contributing to society in the way we want them to, we still shouldn't be dehumanizing and deporting them. They still have a around.
Thank you.
Catholic social teaching of human dignity, the number one, right? Anne, did you want to add something?
Yeah, Al and I went to the Northeast Catholic Community meeting on Friday, And their topic was the human impact of deportation. What can we do? I was a little disappointed in the meeting because they really didn't come up with a lot of concrete things that we could do. But they did have representatives. There was a woman from the Latino Racial Justice Circle who spoke for a little bit. There was a lawyer from the Esperanza Center. And then there was a really nice presentation by Ruth Clemens, who has she's a member of the oh gosh, I just blocked on it. It's the Reservoir Hill House of Peace. It's the North Baltimore Mennonite Church, and they have a house for asylum seekers. So they're actually got people
Wow.
living in community there. So and then there was also two women that I met who were also there, just kind of they weren't associated with anybody. I mean, this was back at the court yesterday. They didn't have a real concrete organization that they were with, but they talked about being involved in accompanying people in the county to different things and through different ways. So I wasn't real clear, if that, she was asking me, would you want to do some of this? And I was like, well, I'm not sure. I mean, it didn't seem like it was organized, except that, somehow they were finding people who needed to have, some kind of service. So I don't know. I have to find out more from her, what she was talking about. But yeah, I think there are more concrete things we can do. I just have to get a better sense of what the real flavor is. I mean, we hear about all these other things happening in other cities, but I'm not hearing much about what's happening here in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Well, and it's possible that Esperanza Center or maybe even Sacred Heart might have, it could be that people need rides to the immigration
Yeah.
court.
Yeah.
But that guy from Salisbury had no car.
Yeah.
So in fact, a lot of the people that day were from Salisbury. I was wondering if they got a bus or something. I don't know. A lot of Creole speakers. So there must be a community down there in Salisbury.
Yeah,
Again, I don't
there's a
know.
large Haitian population in that part of the Eastern Shore. Agriculture, the farming.
Yeah.
But that's something to check out. Like, is there a network that's providing, rides and just saying, okay, I could do that on Thursdays or whatever. I'll bet there's a network that's doing that. And I bet, I'm not sure which organization, one of the immigration organizations would probably know that.
That's what I thought, Esperanza Center or maybe
Yeah.
The trouble is you can't get too much publicity because that would bring ICE maybe down on it. So it's like
Well, it has to be, one of the organization that works with the immigrants, I would think.
they're not going to publicize, I wouldn't think, too much because of the ICE agent. But anyway, anyway.
I had a question. I'm going for the No Kings 2 thing this Saturday. I'm going to a dinner that's for our U.S. representative, Seth Moulton, 4 of our state reps, 2 senators and 2 reps, and I think an attorney general or something. Anyway, I'm going to this dinner, and I'm just wondering, like, what are the things I should ask them? I mean, even if I'm sure it's people that are supporting, but even in having a chance to go up and talk with some of them, are there particular questions, or does anybody have any thoughts of what I might want to say?
Some wide, if they can make some inroads one-on-one with a Republican senator or a Republican representative.
Oh, that's top on my list already. Like, are there some they can talk to? I'm curious if there are any.
Surely some, anyway.
Well, if anyone has an inspiration about that, shoot me an email because I'm gonna have an opportunity to at least, rub some elbows with them. So maybe I'll pray to the Holy Ghost and Holy Spirit. Maybe I'll be inspired.
All right, Skip, do you want to, oh, and if anybody has any questions or is interested in doing what Ann and I have done, let us know, and we'll be happy to share it in more detail or show you the forms if that would interest you.
Just want to thank the two of you that have gone and borne witness and reported back to us.
Yes.
Thank you very, very much for giving us
Yes.
a little insight into, the firsthand experience that you've had. It's very
Yes.
valuable to us.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
Skip, you wanna,
Sure. So at the beginning of the meeting, we said we had two topics we wanted to bring forth. One was the one we've just concluded, looking at what's happening at the real level with many of our immigrants. The other is to get back to our DEI letters. Were any of you able to send out your letters, and did any of you hear anything back? Can we just put that question out there and see just what, if anything, has happened since we brought that up?
And thank you for doing that.
Oh my God, yes. Thank you for doing it if you did. And if you need any help, this is the time to sort of bring that up too, because sometimes the idea is great, but it's more difficult in the execution than, what we were planning.
I
I
Can you
needed
send that list
the
out again?
DEI.
Because can
Go
you
ahead.
send that out again? Because I forgot to do it.
yeah, I will,
And the letter had, it was somebody's name was already on it. I thought we were going to be sent a blank letter
Well,
and that we could
that was
send that
just
to our.
so, Jerry, that was just an example. All you had to do was delete that and put the one you were sending in. That was just an example to show you where to put it.
Yeah, but deleted how? I printed it out and it still had the person's name. I mean,
Well, they were,
like, I didn't see it as a way that I could do anything like alter it or edit it or anything like
do you
that.
have
And
Word or Pages?
I
'Cause
do. I have Word.
yeah, just go up and delete that line. Well, we were thinking they were going to be emailed because those are pretty easy to find, and I'm not sure
Right.
who opens the other mail. And so just change the two, who it was to, in the email, and then put the one in you're sending and shoot it right
But I
off.
have to find their emails, correct?
Yes, yes, but that's pretty easy. Just go right to the company and
Well,
it'll
yeah,
be
yeah.
there.
and the other
So
thing was you
can I
might,
get the letter again? Is there any
yes,
way I can
made a
get it
note.
without a,
I made a note to send it out to you. I'll send it to Mary Catherine.
thank you.
Peggy, she wants it
Okay,
without the
Yeah,
name on it.
without the,
Okay,
then that way I can just edit it.
and just remember, it's a generic letter, so you may have to read the body of it too and make sure makes sense for the type of company you're sending it to. Like, you might not want to send the same exact words to a Target that you would to, a Merrill Lynch. So I mean, you might have to at least use a little finesse and just think about what the company does, and then you might have to change a little something. I did hear back from Kathy Yunkin. She sent the 3 companies she was assigned, and she added 5 more and that are keeping their DEI policies. Some else may have had at Macy's, Kroger, PNC Bank, Coca-Cola, and Carter's Inc.
I have Kroger, yeah.
Yeah. So, and if they get 2, great.
Good.
So anyway, she did send me that email because she couldn't make it tonight. She had a cemetery meeting. So,
Peggy, could you send me a copy of the letter?
yeah.
Okay.
And Pat Ball said to say that she did send her letters.
Good.
She did not say anything about whether she got a response or not.
Okay. What about the rest of you? How did you do? Liz,
The
good?
last letters that we sent out, not the ones on DEI, but the ones in the past that we sent out about the big, beautiful bill when we were sending it to different senators and asking them to, vote against it. And then I was sending them to Catholic, Republican, were they senators? Were they Congress people? Okay. I keep getting something from several of the Republican, I guess they're senators telling me all the Schmidt. Yeah, I get that all the time. Yeah.
I get them for those 2 also.
Yeah.
I know. I thought, oh, what did I do? I opened up this can of worms.
I read them and it's like, oh,
I
come on.
read them too.
Yeah.
I know.
And
Oh,
I
no.
took the Baltimore racial equity group off and sent it to some of my friends that are just sending them personally,
Oh,
signing
yeah.
their names
That's
and
good.
stuff. So
Good.
That's a good idea.
Anybody hear anything back from any of the companies? If you haven't done it yet, if you could maybe commit to do it. And if you need any help in drafting your letter or changing it, please let us know. We'll be happy to help. Okay.
now we purposely did not send a PDF so you could edit it. So
Ah.
Thank
you should
you.
have it in Word and Pages. But if you have any
Yes.
problems, email me.
Did
Did we ever hear back
Mhm.
from Costco? The
What's a Costco?
congratulatory letters, the ones who
Um,
stood firm from the beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't understand what they're going to do without DEI. I mean, okay, I go back to what Al Reichelt sent me, and I was wondering, did you ever find that list, Al, that you had sent? You had put it on Facebook, and I had used it to show my cousins that this is what DEI really was, because they think it's just what they think it is just illegally hiring people based on their race. That's what my cousins think DEI is. And so Al had sent me something, and I don't know if you ever found it again. It was a list. And it had everything, it had things in it like changing tables in men's rooms
Sure.
and
Handicap
like
parking.
handicap parking. I mean, what are they going to get
Ramps.
rid? What are they going to take the ramps now and build them into steps or something? The people that are going to do away with DEI. I don't even think Trump knows what it is. He doesn't know what it is,
No, I agree with you.
He equates it with affirmative action.
Mhm.
which is not even, I don't know.
Piece of it.
Right. I don't think anybody can explain things to him. I don't know.
Oh, you're right.
To
Unless they're things he wants to hear anyway.
hear
Right.
exactly.
True.
I will attempt to look for it. I
Thanks, Al. I can't
I
I don't
got
know what I did with
distracted.
it.
I got
I have not found
distracted, so.
Okay. I mean, I actually had it as a photo, and now I'm looking and thinking, what did I do with this thing?
Okay.
Do you
So I don't know. It
you
was
all
great.
want me to send the letters back to all of you in case somebody can look at the list and say, oh, gee, that person has a company just like mine. I'll see how they changed their letter.
Good.
Yeah.
To do that, I'm happy to just reply all on this. I just found it, but I have to change it to take the name out. But other than that, I'll send it out to all of you then.
That'd be great, Peggy. I'm actually sending it to Philadelphia because Helen and her significant other asked me to send it because they thought they might send some letters.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh.
great.
So,
And I would caution you that this was initial. So it could be that a company has changed their mind. It could be- so
right. Well,
if I were you, when you go to their website to check the email address, I would maybe query DI and just see if it says anything like
right.
we've decided to reverse our position. Who knows? So it just might take a speck of research. It doesn't.
Yeah, because it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Just-
about a month anyway.
What'd you say, Jer?
It's been at least a month, so
Yeah.
we
Could
Yeah.
have changed, yeah. So, Katie, were you going to ask a question or anything when?
No, I was just saying I could not find the attachment.
No.
Okay, I will send that out again.
Okay, thank you.
We're useless. I'm so sorry, Peggy.
I'm used
Tell
to
the girls I'll
things.
them and I'm
I'd
going.
rather go to the court than write letters, to tell you the
Me
truth.
too. Are you kidding? I would rather holler at court all day than write. Oh my God.
Go
That's the
for it.
beauty of this. The letter's already written. All you have to do is put the name in.
But
That's
I don't
true.
have words,
Write
so
the
it's
letter.
more complicated.
Anyway,
True,
feel free to give
true.
me a call, Jerry, with your letter in front of you, and I'll be happy to help you
Thank you.
if I'm not in court. I'm just-
You can call me, Jerry.
All right. So anyway, but we truly thank all of you who send your letters and those who attempted to send it but couldn't find it. We truly thank all of you for the efforts made. And we know that you're going to fulfill your task because it's important.
Yes, it is.
And it's not like we've done a million things this year that we can't squeeze this one little thing in, right? That's my TED talk.
All right.
Well, and if you want to send it to relatives, yeah, like Guy just took off the Baltimore Racial Equity Group. Anybody can send it then.
Gosh.
Yeah, but
That's what
anyway,
others you two would make. I mean, you really know how to make us all feel guilty by doing it so sweetly.
Ah.
well, we just know that what's our saying? Democracy. Oh, this is democracy is not a spectator sport.
Right.
And silence is complicity.
Oh, yeah.
That's even more guilt.
More guilt.
But we love all of you.
Yes.
And we love guilt, right?
Yeah.
We love what, Dennis?
Guilt.
Jill, we
As Catholics.
Or
Oh, yeah.
Catholic thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We know that. Raised on it, yeah.
you said Jill, and I was gonna say, well, yeah, we do love Jill, but what is she? What are we talking about her about?
Ah.
Guilt,
I guess-
yes.
Whew.
See,
Anyway,
I don't
Did you
know if
all-
anybody's, I've only read the first 2 chapters of the encyclical. It's like 104 pages.
Yeah,
It is beautiful. I
it
mean,
is.
It
It's
is.
outstanding.
beautiful. And Ray sent that lovely article from that newspaper, which is
Summary.
if you don't have time to
Thank
read
you, Ray.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
so
great.
great.
from
That really helped. Yeah, we have a winner in this Pope.
Oh,
We
yeah.
do.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. He was pretty blunt in some parts of there. I've just read
Yes.
the beginning to it. and
Mhm.
it really
And
restores my faith.
very clear.
yeah. Yeah.
Peggy, did you want to say anything about this Saturday, the No Kings activity?
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that just a reminder, all the No Kings events all around, and also a reminder that it's the marathon.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yes, please
that
be
in mind.
mindful of
If you're
that.
already downtown, great, you'll be able to stay downtown, but
It's
don't
4 races.
come
4,
downtown if
it's,
you don't have.
it's 4 races, Peggy, 4.
I know.
Well, that's
And
what
it's
she's
gonna
saying.
sit-
Go to a suburb.
Yeah,
It's taken over all day,
Yeah.
everywhere.
And the
So,
city puts
yeah.
out like an email that will tell you just what's going on at what time, what routes, what streets to avoid, because they're going to be
Yeah,
like spread
yeah.
out all over the place.
Right.
Or you could all come to Catonsville. We've got
Yeah.
two, we've got the one at the giant rolling road in Route 40.
We
And then
considered, yeah.
there
Oh,
is the one that Charlestown is putting on. Our group is called
Yes.
Never Too Old to Speak Out.
I like that, yeah.
Nice.
oh, I love it.
And yeah, we are being bused over to the bridge over from Frederick Road over the Beltway from 12 to 1 on Saturday, and that will be our part of No Kings.
I need a bus just for the St. Vincent's people at Charlestown.
That's right.
Well, it will
Seriously.
be, we've got quite a, honey, how many people do you think were at that meeting? Do you think it was like 50, 60?
Wow.
Which meeting?
The meeting of the Never Too Old to Speak Out.
Oh,
Remember in the
yeah,
auditorium?
yeah.
It was
Oh,
a
at
ton
least.
of people.
That's
Yeah.
great.
That's
Super.
great.
And
Well, we
actually,
have one full bus, and that's all they can afford to give us at the time.
I see.
A couple of us I went to the security people meeting for it because I'm going to be a security guy.
Of course you are.
And we will, depending upon how many people haven't gotten a ride, Marianne, you don't know this yet, but we may go over with Paul Rayo to open up seats for those
okay.
who are on the waiting list.
And Audrey is not going to be able to be at the demonstration, but she offered to the St. V's gang that if anybody wasn't able to get on the bus, that she would drive them over. So yeah, and there's a sign making party tomorrow night, so we'll
Wow.
Nice.
This is a serious one, yeah.
We've
Danny-
got an underground here,
You
okay?
guys are having too much fun.
I see.
That sounds
No,
good.
it's a great place to come, join the underground.
Well, Women in Ministry is going to be on retreat, FYI.
I know.
Yes, I hear. Yes.
So we'll be praying for you.
Thank
Good.
you.
Okay.
Danny and
For sure.
I are going to Hunt Valley to the march.
Yes.
Great. That's great. I
And
guess
I
they,
can't imagine a No Kings protest without you.
I know. What can I say?
Yeah.
Ah,
Well, you've done your work, and yeah,
Of course.
Well, there's going to be
Really.
more for sure. There's
Yeah.
still Moral Monday, demonstrations in DC. I'm trying to decide when I'm going to hook back up with them
Yeah.
again. So
wow.
Nice.
you know what, Ann, there might be one near your retreat house. You can take the whole crowd
well,
take them outside. Yeah.
with your signs, with your no kings. I haven't made my sign yet
Yeah,
either.
because they're everywhere.
That could be part of your retreat theme.
That's good.
Resistance as a form of prayer.
yeah.
Truly.
I like it.
Yes.
Good.
Sure.
Speaking of resistance, I was, I guess it's 10 days ago now. I was on a woman's retreat up in Rhinebeck, New York. The first retreat I ever attended that wasn't specifically Catholic, and I had been on a lot of Catholic retreats as a nun and so forth.
Mhm.
But I don't know if you know Nadia Bolz-Weber, the Lutheran pastor.
Yes,
who
yes,
was
yes, yes, yeah,
fire. She
Yes.
was the keynote speaker.
Cool.
But the theme of the weekend was about rest, and about rest as a form of resistance in a consumer culture.
Mm,
That people, she was talking about being in Europe, and people would say, how can you take a siesta? You could be making all this money, and it's like rest is where we reset, we connect with our family, we connect with our feelings, and we were talking in one session, they asked us to write what we had learned about rest from childhood. What was our earliest memory of the message? And people were saying, oh, rest, you don't do that, it's a waste of time, and so forth. And we were talking about I mentioned I am not able to do a 20-minute nap. I do a 2-hour nap if I let myself just go to sleep. And then I wake up feeling very guilty that I could have, cleaned a drawer or written to my Congress people. And so, the facilitator said, so you could have been saving the world and you
Yeah.
chose to take a nap, and everybody was, we laughed about it, but the question of where do you put your best energy and how do you renew your energy
Mm.
so that you
Yes,
can go out
yes.
again,
Yes.
the balance. And it
Yes.
was very helpful.
What were the questions that she posed?
Because a lot of it was, there's so much to do and we feel so helpless, and so rest seems frivolous. But she said, you ask yourself, what is mine to do?
mm,
And what is not mine to do?
Mm.
What is mine to say and what is not mine to say? And what is mine to care for and what is not mine to care for? And she said that last one is not about saying, I don't care about such and such. She says it's what is mine, what is the place where I can put my best energy? And drawing boundaries when the things you see are things you honestly can't do anything about. You put your
Mm.
energy into the things you can
mhm.
affect. And it was good.
I have begun to find rest as one of my most important types of prayer, where I can just rest and
Yes,
and
yes.
say, Holy Spirit, I'm available, basically. Otherwise, I'm running around doing things and not very available.
Mm.
I liked Father's prayer at the beginning
Mhm.
of Avila, I guess.
I read that this morning. I found it very helpful.
Mhm.
Well, you all are troopers. I'm glad you showed up. I would have felt bad if Father was joined us and then there was nobody here. So
Yeah. That's good.
thank you for making a good impression on Father, I'm sure.
Thank you,
Thank
Anne, because that was above the call of duty, and we really appreciate
both of you.
did pay.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
incredible.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is he tall too?
Is he
Evan?
tall too? He's
I met, so, you know, I do all this stuff on Zoom. So the first time I met Father Ray was at the seminary when we had that thing with St. Elizabeth's and we had the mass. Remember when we
Oh,
were up
Yeah.
right?
Thing, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just looked at him. The first thing I said to him was, "You're so tall." I don't know why. It just, you know, I have no filter, so it just blurted right out.
well.
And
You can
Evan
judge,
tall like that? Or,
you can judge for yourself if you go to the cemetery again on November 1st.
oh, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
He's going to do a mass on Saturday at
Another with St. Elizabeth's or
St.
no,
Leo.
No.
St. Leo.
St.
Yes.
I don't know why I keep calling it that. They were both my grandmother's churches, so I get them mixed up.
Well,
St. Leo's, yeah.
St. Leo's, and it's on November 1st at
Okay.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So you can
Thanks.
judge for
Unless
yourself.
it rains, and then we'll be at church.
Yes.
Peggy, does the SBCLT have something on November 1st?
So it's been postponed. They
It
did.
has. Okay.
They did, but I figured anybody who had signed up for it got the email saying it's been postponed,
Okay.
which is lets us now go to the cemetery. So that's good.
All right. All
That
right.
was one positive thing. All right. Well, thank you all so much for anything that you can do to help the immigrants, anything you can do to dissuade people from their thoughts of DEI, anything we can do to keep Skip awake. No. I saw you do, but we're going to end this meeting, but Al is going to close this
Wait.
meeting with prayer.
I just want to make one more comment while you're saying, because I find this very impactful. There's 4.7 million children in this country who have a parent who's not a citizen.
Wow.
Oh,
So if
boy.
that doesn't motivate us.
Yeah.
Oh boy. My mother was one for a long, long time. Her parents did not become citizens. She would have been one of those people that Trump wanted to throw out.
Yes.
And yeah, her parents, when she was little, they weren't citizens. I don't even know how long. And she didn't speak English, I guess, until she was 4. When my grandfather decided she should go a year early. She went to St. Leo's, by the way.
Yeah.
And yeah. And, you know, and then she learned to speak English by going to school and just being out because her whole community, you know, were Italian immigrants. And, you know, but my grandparents, they became citizens, but it took a while. It took a few years. So, yep, you know how Trump, he wanted to throw out all those people whose parents weren't citizens or something or whatever he wanted to do. Yeah, she would have been one of them. So,
As we're
Go see
all
Cabrini,
answers,
you'll love it.
Any of us.
all of our
okay,
answers,
I will.
native born.
Well, now Trump wants to give precedence to all the white immigrants.
Oh, I saw that today. Oh
Did
my
you
gosh.
Oh, no.
Surprise
Yep.
you?
Yep.
Yep.
White faces.
Well,
Yep.
that's what he's
So-
been doing all along. It's been about
Exactly.
whiteness,
Yeah.
but it's been covered by other things, but it was all about white.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes.
People from
Exactly.
The great white hope. I mean, really, that's our version or someone's version.
I missed what you said.
He's
I said-
giving priority. He wants to give priority to any immigrant coming out of Europe or South Africa that is white.
Yep.
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 So it's about being white.
Yep.
Yep.
Sure.
It always has been.
It always
And-
has
and-
been from the very start.
And if you really listen to some of the things that were said by the young man who was murdered, I mean, he was no saint.
Charlie Kirk.
Right.
Yeah,
Charlie
he
Kirk,
made
yeah.
very racist statements.
Well,
Yeah,
and
I give him one.
the young Republicans, have you read this?
Oh,
The
yes.
leak of the 3,000 pages of text back and forth where
Yes.
influential young Republicans in many states are had this long conversation about how rape is great and how Hitler is great and
How
how
they love Hitler, yeah.
we want to
Same, isn't it?
gas chambers, and it's horrific.
Yeah.
Did anybody say rape is great?
So is there documentation that that's not in any way AI generated or any, I mean, is there,
I
are there
hope it's
sources
No,
that
It came out of ProPublica, I think.
did it?
It's come out of multiple sources, and I'm
Mhm.
hearing that now this I would want to go back and verify that it's gotten to the point where a few of them have mysteriously resigned.
Yes, some of them have been shut down, a couple of them. Yeah, it's sort of
Yeah.
like it's out. Because one of the messages even said, if this ever got out, you know,
We'd be screwed.
Yeah.
Like the flag with the swastika in the middle of it. Have you all seen that?
No.
Hanging in front of the Republican representative's office. And soon as the news
No.
picked it up with pictures on the news, it came down, but it stayed
Oh.
up.
Which
Oh,
representative? Who, do you know who it
Said the
was?
name, I don't remember who it was. It was on the news.
Oh,
Gee.
They're not
anybody
even
hear
hiding anymore.
Hegseth? Did you hear Hegseth's speech about how he wants the male army or the male military? And he said something about no beards and nobody who's overweight. And I thought, well, that's going to get rid of Trump and Vance right there.
You
Yeah.
guys,
He doesn't want-
we do the ending prayer, and then I'm going to take us off record, and then we can.
Let me get out of here.
Just don't forget that Greg Boyle is going to be in town next week. And
That's
so,
right, the
Tomorrow, I'm
22nd.
seeing him tomorrow night.
oh,
I'm so-
wonderful.
Yes, I'm
Mm.
so psyched.
Yeah.
Anybody else going besides Ann and I?
What is that going to be?
It's
Is the 22nd?
Vincent Nativity.
22nd.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to go.
Oh, are
Okay,
you talking about-
You need to register because they're filling up.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's not this week, it's next week.
it's
No,
next
one
week,
is-
Wednesday,
He's in,
yeah.
he's in Boston, so I'm going tomorrow night to my
Oh.
school. He's
Ah,
coming to my school tomorrow
okay,
night.
On the
Okay,
East Coast.
Nativity next week, yeah.
yeah, that's
So
what I thought.
let's have Al say a prayer. I'm going to stop the recording, and then we can chat.
Okay, I've got to leave.
This was a prayer written by Father Dan Hartnett of the Society of Jesus. And he called it Give Us Hearts. God of love and compassion, may we always recognize your spirit in the refugee family seeking safety from violence, in the migrant worker bringing food to our tables, in the asylum seekers seeking justice for their families, in the unaccompanied child traveling in a dangerous world. Give us hearts that break open whenever our brothers and sisters turn to us. Give us hearts that no longer turn deaf to their voices in times of need. Give us eyes to recognize a moment of grace instead of a threat. Give us voices that fail to remain silent, but which decide instead to advocate prophetically. Give us hands that reach out in welcome, but also in work for a world of justice until all homelands are safe and secure. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Could you send